So let's start. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome all the participants in this webinar on opportunities for researchers supported by the South African Department of for Science and Innovation, DSI, to visit an European Research Council team. This webinar will explain how to apply and what is involved by per diem, subsistence costs, salaries, travel, health insurance, and living expenses. Visiting researchers are welcome into ERC research teams for the duration for their visit, which may be a short few months, stays, or maximum a full year. Visiting a researcher from South Africa will provide a testimonial of their time with an ERC funded team in Europe. My name is Ahmed Malel. I am Associate Professor and Regional Representative for EURAXES Africa. I would like to thank our speakers for today. Davide Einensti is a scientific officer at the European Research Council who works in the international implementing arrangements between the ERC and funding agency worldwide. We will be hearing from him about these international arrangements and specifically the arrangement between the ERC and South Africa Department for Science and Innovation, DSI, which was signed in December 1996 as an agreement to encourage, develop, and facilitate access to research opportunities between the National Research Foundation and the ERC. We have with us today Andrew Swartz. Andrew Swartz is currently employed as Associate Professor within the School of Chemistry at University of Witwatersrand. Andrew obtained his PhD in 2013 from Stellenbosch University. In 2016, Andrew Swartz applied to be a visiting researcher through the South African National Research Foundation and spent time at University of Bern in Switzerland. We will be hearing from him about his time in Switzerland with an ERC team. We have also with us today Tins Falamonka, Program Officer at the National Research Foundation, responsible for the international partnerships in collaboration with the Department of Science and Innovation. We will hearing from him about the call which has just opening and how to apply. You can ask your questions. The webinar will be recorded and will be available in EURAXES Africa website as well as the slides. Now I am moving for the first presentation dedicated to EURAXES Africa. You see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I am Ahmed Malel, the regional representative for EURAXES Africa. I am associate professor at former national contact point for Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe. So today I present EURAXES Africa. EURAXES, first of all, I will introduce EURAXES worldwide, and after that I give more details about EURAXES Africa. So EURAXES is initiative of the European Commission established with the aim to provide free access to information about research in Europe, opportunities for research funding, and international collaboration and transnational mobility. It links researchers in worldwide to Europe. Furthermore, the network is open to all nationalities and research fields. So we are in North America, we are in Latin America and Caribbean, China, India, Asia, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and also we are in Africa. So main tasks for EURAXES Africa. First of all, management and development of the EURAXES Africa network, building partnerships with African research institutions and organizations, promoting research of mobility between Africa and Europe, support for African researchers through providing information, advice, assistance to African researchers, supporting the career development of African researchers who are already working in Europe. Third, promoting European research opportunities in Africa. and raising awareness of the European research opportunities among African researchers and the research institutions, supporting the participation of African researchers in European research projects as Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 in Horizon Europe. We have Africa Initiative 2 under your work program 23-24 in Horizon Europe, and we have also Mediterranean Initiative. And finally, reinforce the networking with all RNI African experts by organizing events and activities that promote networking and collaboration, facilitating the exchange of information and expertise between the two regions. So you can see here the website of EUR-Access, and you can see in the tab of worldwide, and there is a top Africa, and you can click on Africa, and after that, please sign up for free membership to EUR-Access Africa. There is overview of 2022. We have it was a year full of challenges with face-to-face events, with online events, online meetings, and we have many activities in South Africa, in Kenya, Ethiopia, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and some online events in Senegal, Libya, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Rwanda. So here are some photos about our activities for last year in Kenya, in Morocco, here in South Africa, in Cape Town, in Egypt, and there is more and more. There is some photos from Cairo in Egypt last month in the event of launch of Mediterranean Initiative. And here, what can we do for you as EUR-Access? Promote EU national research landscape, promote EU funding opportunities, promote EUR-Access network, invite speakers from the network, and connect researchers with research labs. So how can we work together? First of all, invite us to present in your bilateral events. If you have events, if you have scientific conferences, if you have meetings in your universities or in your laboratories, don't hesitate. You can invite us to present all opportunities related to research mobility, and also we can animate some practical workshop and draft proposal in Pillar 1 and how to be a member of the consortium in Pillar 2 in Horizon Europe. Forward us requests about EU funding to go to your countries. Tell us how can we support you further. So our tools are websites, usually the website, social media, flash notes, newsletter, info session, and practical workshops. And there is some news in our website. There is a lot of opportunities given to African researchers, especially in South Africa. And you can subscribe to all events for free, and you can download all slides, and you can also view and watch the recording video for each event already organized. So join us, be informed, be proactive. Click on this button to join our community of researchers. We are in LinkedIn, we are in Facebook, we are in Twitter, YouTube, and our email is africa@euraccess.net. Free, easy, and valuable. Thank you all for your attention. Now I will give the floor to Davide Anenstis, scientific officer of the European Research Council, who works in the international implementing the arrangements between the ERC and funding agencies worldwide. Davide, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ahmed, and I will share my slides with you. You should already be able to see this. Good morning from Brussels. I'm Davide Innocenti, and I work in the scientific department of the ERC Executive Agency, where I'm responsible for the implementation of this program of international cooperation, but also other widening activities. Today, I will provide you with some background and information about the ERC NRF implementing arrangement, and in particular some detail about the procedure to express interest and some other details. First of all, what's an implementing arrangement? The ERC Council, the European Research Council established this mobility program in 2012 to promote the opportunity for non-European scientists to visit and collaborate with ERC teams. These partially support by non-European funding agencies. From 2012, this is called administrative arrangement, but this is just a different name. This is exactly the same initiative. Here you can have a look to all the implementing arrangement that have been signed so far. We have 17 arrangements ongoing with agencies from 13 different countries. There are countries with more than one agency which is participating. And so far, more than 600 researchers visited an ERC project. The last one was the Thai program, the PMUB that joined in 2012. As you can see, the NRF joined the program in 2015 and is still, of course, collaborating with ERC for this initiative. As I already explained you before, this is the list of all the arrangements signed so far. All the arrangements have been signed between the Commission and relative third-country research institutions and ministries. And all the details about this arrangement are available at our webpage. You can find there below. Let's give a look how does this mobility program work. I will quickly guide you through that. Every year we launch an internal call for expression of interest as ERC executive agency, contacting all the eligible ERC principal investigators. Principal investigators will have a month to express their interest to participate. And this means an interest to host, in this case, a scientist supported by the NRF. After the call is closed, we as ERC send a list of interested PIs to the NRF. At that point, the NRF launch a call for proposal to their eligible scientists. The potential visitors visiting scientists with the list can have the chance to contact the ERC principal investigators to seek an agreement on a possible research visits to discuss the modalities of this visit and so on. At this stage, the ERC principal investigator can accept or not the visit, of course, depending by the opportunity. And if accepted, they will have to provide to the potential visitor a letter of support together with the letter of support of their host institution. With that, the potential visitor will present the proposal, and the NRF will evaluate the proposal and fund the successful one. Then it will be up to the visiting scientist and the ERC principal investigator to execute the visit, find an agreement, what's the right spot, what's the right timing to really do the visit. There are few participation process and conditions which are common to all the agreements, so also to the one with NRF. First of all, the ERC does not intervene in the communication between the ERC PI and the visitor, the potential visitor. The selection of the visiting scientist is done by each third country. So in this case, the NRF, without our intervention. Then the visit should take place within the lifetime of the ERC project. That's why for us, we are actually contacting area only the ERC PIs. They still have 18 months to go to the end of the project, so that there is enough time for the NRF to launch the call and for the visitors to arrange a visit and to do the visit. Of course, it is expected that the collaboration will occur in areas of similar interest, scientific interest, on topics of mutual interest, of course. And finally, the visiting researcher may be incorporated into the research team of the ERC-funded principal investigator for the duration of the visit. So depending by the duration of the visit, they will be part of the team. I just presented you some general processes and condition of the program. Now I wanted to introduce you more in detail about the ERC NRF in implementing arrangements. First of all, the NRF researcher can actually participate and join the ERC supported team through a single long-term visit, which can be 6 to 12 months, or multiple short-term visits that can be from 10 days to maximum 6 months. This can be even on-the-spot visit for a joint experiment or something similar. The NRF will provide, of course, support for travel expenses, and in case of long-term visit, also for the accompanying family members. And this researcher will continue to receive their fellowship funding during the period of the visit to the ERC team. On the other side, the ERC grant eligible costs categories include subsistence costs on a per diem basis, or other modalities that are actually foreseen by the host institution of the ERC PIs. And of course, any other eligible cost that is incurred during the visit will be supported with the ERC funded funds. But let's give a look to the state of play of the participation of the ERC PIs during the years. Since 2012, as you can see, the first arrangement was signed in with the United States National Science Foundation, and already hundreds of ERC principal investigators expressed their interest and welcome the program, and they were happy to host researchers from US. But then other countries joined, other funding bodies joined this initiative, and through the years, the interest of the ERC grantees grew up. And as you can see, South Africa, since 2015, we had about 360 ERC PIs that expressed interest. And these numbers grew up to 2022 now, with the last call for expression of interest, 660 ERC principal investigator are interested to host NRF researchers. But let's give a look to the detail of this collaboration. To do that, we represent here the number of ERC principal investigator interested to host an NRF researcher in 2022 for 2022 call. So this means that this offer are valid for this year, for 2023. Yeah, we have distribution per host institution country and by scientific domain. As I explained you before, of course, the collaboration will have to occur in similar areas of scientific interest. And from this point of view, you can notice that all scientific domains, social sciences, PEs, physical and engineering, and LS is life science, but as well interdisciplinary projects as synergy are represented for a majority of the country of destination. 19 out of 27 of these countries that have at least one principal investigator interested have the opportunity for all the domain. In general, 42% of the projects belong to physical sciences and engineering domain, 25% to life science domain, and 28% to social science and humanities domain. There is also 4% of these PIs that are actually working in an interdisciplinary project synergy, called synergy. Furthermore, grantees for all the grant schemes are here participating. So there are grantees from starting, consolidator, advanced, grants, and synergy as well, as I told you before. This means that the offer is comprehensive of ERC principal investigator with very different experience from PIs that just established the group to PIs that are actually having a well-established group already ongoing. In conclusion, the implementing arrangement represents a vast and comprehensive collaborative offer, already translated in the past in hundreds of research collaboration and involving hundreds of top researchers with very different level of experience in Europe and across the world. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I would like to leave you with this link to our additional opportunities webpage, where these agreements are presented. And here you find as well our functional mailbox. You can send your question there. We are the people behind this functional mailbox, and we'll clarify your doubt, or if you have any question, we are happy to help. Thanks a lot again for your attention.
Thank you very much for this nice presentation about ERC. So now I will give the floor to Andrew Swartz. So Andrew Swartz is currently employed as associate professor within the School of Chemistry at University of Witwatersrand. Andrew obtained his PhD in 2013 from Stellenbosch University. So Swartz in 2016 Andrew Swartz applied to be a visiting researcher through the South African National Research Foundation and spent time at the University of Bern in Switzerland. We will be hearing from him about his time in Switzerland, which in ERC funding team. So Andrew, the floor is yours, please.
Good morning, colleagues. Is my slides visible?
It's okay just to check the display settings.
Okay, let's do that again.
Replicate, yes, exactly. The top.
Just sort this out quickly. Things moving around. There we go.
Yes, that.
Sorted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Nice.
perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share my experience in applying and then going to visit an ERC funded team. It's been a while back, so when I was approached by Brioni to share my experience, I thought what would be the best way to do this. And let's just give a bit of context and some of the tips that I wish I had before I had applied to spend time in Switzerland. So in terms of what I'm sharing very briefly, a couple of slides. So I think I'll try and give some context as to where I was in my career when I decided to apply to the ERC NRF call. And so we moved from where I was to what I call a needed pit stop, and how this then supported my growth to be able to be where I am now, which is at Wits University. So at that stage, I was at Northwest University for 3 years since I completed my PhD. And while things were going good here, I think
colleagues, apologies, we seem to have lost Andrew.
Exactly, I think so.
Davide, you noticed we lost Andrew, right?
Yes.
So we wait for some seconds. If not, we can move for the next presentation before give the floor another time to Andrew Swartz. It's okay now.
Yeah, for some reason the call dropped me. Am I audible?
No problem. Yes, it's okay.
Apologies for that.
Try to share your screen, please.
I'll do that again. So let's just go there. Yeah. Then okay. Can you see it clearly? Do I need to alter
okay,
the
but
settings
just
again?
to try to duplicate your screen. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Perfect.
Looks nice. Okay. Please.
Okay. Apologies for that. Yeah, so let's go back. There we go. Okay, so as I was saying, apologies again for the interruption. So at this stage in my career, I was at Northwest University for about 3 years since I obtained the PhD. And for many ECRs, early career researchers on the call, you would relate to my situation. I graduated as a master's student. Lindy had finished the MSc with me, as well as Lizette. Vincent had just joined to do MSc, and Felicity had joined to do PhD. There was some traction, but things were getting off the ground slowly. I remember I was funded by the NRF that time, a developmental grant, the Tutuka grant, which many are familiar with. And so there was money to do things, but you were adapting to a different life and different career. And there had emerged some publications from what we had done, Lindy's work, and some work that I did with my PhD supervisor. Okay, but things needed to gain some momentum. And my thoughts were that I would try and use whatever opportunities are available to get that and to generate that momentum. And so when we have this national society, which is known as the Catalyst Society of South Africa, and Martin Albrecht, who is based at the University of Bern, was our eminent visitor for the year 2015. And so Martin came and he presented his research, and he really impressed the entire community with what he was doing and how he was doing it. So that was the first introduction that I had to Martin.
It seems we have the same problem of connection.
Yeah, those who are not aware that we in South Africa are still experiencing power outages. So every now and then, if it happens, it also affects the connectivity. So we greatly apologize for that on behalf
No problem.
also.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. So, Andrew,
I'm terribly sorry. I don't know what the issue is. It just it keeps kicking me out.
yes, we lost you. but
it keeps kicking me out. So I think I'm gonna try and go through this a bit quicker. And so let me just share my screen. Let's go with this one. Is it visible? I'm not going to go full screen just to avoid issues.
Okay.
Where are we? Do you see the screen?
Yes, we see your screen, but it's not full screen. Huh?
Okay, but I think, I don't know, I'm skeptical to go through full screen again and then we have issues.
No problem. It's okay.
Prof. Swartz, just also to assist, maybe if you can put your camera off, that can bring back a bit of connection bandwidth. Thanks.
Yeah, so we forget these things. Okay, so as I was saying, I met Martin when he visited South Africa as an eminent visitor. and was introduced to the work he was doing. And then when the ERC call came out, and I took a snapshot of the 22 call, when the call came out, Martin's project, his ERC funded project at that time, was one of the projects that was open to hosting South African researchers. And so I applied, and the first tip that I would like to put out there is to ensure that you secure adequate support. So I had applied and written to 2 ERC grantees, and Martin was the one that was very supportive of me coming. The other one, who was based in the UK, said, listen, I don't think the fit is too great. So number one, your choice of project, the partner, you should double check that your fit is good. And in that way, you ensure that you're getting the best letter of support, and ensure that you also get letters of support from all the role players at your host institution. So I was able to get support not only from my school and my research entity at the time, but also from the dean. And I think this really strengthened the application, so that when it came to the grant review, I managed to be successful. So tip number one, ensure that you secure adequate and strong support for your application. The next one is to secure enough funding. The NRF, obviously we all know everyone has budgetary constraints, but when I was awarded this, they gave me 30,000 Rand. Now, this is not a gripe at the NRF or anything, but the reality is that 30,000 Rand is not going to get you to Switzerland. 30,000 Rand can barely get you to live in South Africa. So while they supported the funds and they were happy to do so, I needed to get more funding. So tip number 2 would be to ensure that you get as much funding as possible to ensure that you are able to undertake the visit. So I like 2, and this is just to emphasize what I think you should be doing. And so I managed to source funding from my host institution, which was Northwest University at the time, and it's 30,000 more or less, which contributed. And then I also sourced funding from the Oppenheimer Memorial Trust, and this was good, relatively good funding. I must admit, I had research funding that I had stockpiled. So with the stockpile, OMT, NWU, and NRF, I was able to then get enough funds to be able to undertake the trip. So ensure that you have a couple of funding pools which you can tap into to help you get over there. The thing that I think is also important is that you need to ensure that this visit is part of your long-term plan. So when I went to Martin's lab, I acted as a postdoc, I did research, but I also did my own stuff. So I managed to generate some publications while I was there, and I managed to apply for NRF rating. So the visit was part of my long-term plan. And yeah, I highlight the 2 reports that I needed to submit. And in this report, I tried to emphasize that this was the intended benefit of going to Switzerland, spending time in Martin's lab, doing work there. And so everything that I did, I tried to link to my long-term plan. And I highlight how this also contributed to part of my long-term plan. So for those of us based in South Africa, you know that the NRF rating process is important, particularly in terms of the development, and also for you to generate a research presence. And this ERC call was clearly struck in my mind to contribute to this. So while I was there, I was working on my rating application. I built it into my annual reports for the funders, and I used the time that I was there to get this going. And so all of what I tried to do was guided and geared towards contributing to the long-term plan. So the last idea is that if you're doing this, you need to be sure that it is going to contribute to where you want to be and where you see yourself going forward. So this ERC call definitely assisted in letting me see what is being done in world-class labs. Martin and I still speak now and then. We try and keep in touch. The pandemic has obviously curtailed that, but the skills and expertise that I learned there and the challenges that I faced allowed me to be able to move to WITS. I'm not saying that the ERC call was the be-all and end-all of my move, but it definitely helped in ensuring that it's contributing to my long-term plan. Now, at the moment, we have a good couple of hands for which we are grateful. And I highlight the ERC and all the other funders who contributed to where we are currently. And yeah, I'm happy to take any questions later, should there be any. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for this nice presentation, Andrew. Just I have some questions for you before moving for the last presentation, because we need to have more learning lessons from you about this nice experience. So the first questions, was the hosting ERC team international? Was you the only international member of the team? Andrew.
Yeah, so to answer that, yes, they were international, but European international. So when I arrived there were many international team members. Martin's group had moved not too long from Ireland back to Switzerland. So he had some Irish, he had a couple of Spanish people, he had some Danish. So very international, but European international. I was the only African in his group. I think, I speak under correction, but the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry is massive. It occupies like 5 or 6 floors. And I think I was the only African in that entire building. So yeah, it was a difficult, unique experience. These things you didn't think about then, but there was definitely a bit of imposter syndrome running through my mind. Are you good enough? Do you fit in? All these things. I'll be honest, Martin and his team is very welcoming. And if you integrate yourself, then you don't have any issues. So that was a real positive. Yeah.
Good. So I have more questions.
Sure.
So whether you have kept any ties with the team, this team now?
Yeah. So we had hoped to try and get something off the ground just after COVID, but then that didn't happen. So as I mentioned, Martin and we do try and communicate, but there's no formal collaboration, and that's something that I really would like to try and get off the ground again. But it's difficult. So I think everyone around the globe is really restricted in terms of funding availability, and so being able to get funding to even just go visit again is very difficult. So it's those hurdles that you try and overcome. But I think the COVID pandemic has also taught us some good lessons of how we can continue to interact without having to be in each other's company physically. So it's worth trying to take those lessons and continue to get collaborations off the ground there. Yeah.
Okay. So why you choose the University of Bern? Why?
So I chose Martin, not the University of Bern. Yeah. So as I said, Martin he came to South Africa. He presented a fantastic lecture. He came to Northwest University as well. So we had some interaction. And then to me, it was okay, ERC funded teams have space. Where can you go? And there were 2 choices. Martin was one and another guy in the UK. But the UK guy said, listen, the fit is not too great. And Martin said, no, the fit is good and we're happy to host, and wrote a fantastic hosting letter, a letter of support. And that's just got the ball rolling. Yeah. So the fit between research, ideas and tracks or whatever was the main driver. Yeah.
Okay. So what tips and advice you will give to potential applicants from South Africa, considering
Yes, so
experience?
I think the most important thing is ensure that the fit is good and that the fit links with your plan for the future. So if academia is not working for you, then don't apply, because time spent away, it's a lot of sacrifices. You leave your family, you leave your comfort zone, and you need to integrate very quickly into perhaps a more high pressure environment than what you're used to back in South Africa. So there's a lot of challenges that you need to be mindful of before you go. And so the end goal needs to be very, very important to you. If it's not, then you might find yourself in a situation where you are there and things are not going well. And that then has a negative impact on your experience, but also what you bring home, because you wouldn't be able to speak well of your experience. And so you wouldn't motivate other people to actually do it. So you really need to know what the purpose is for yourself and for your career. That's what I did. And so even though we've not managed to keep in touch, I've taken the lessons I've learned and tried to build it into my own career. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Stay with us, because we will give possibility to some live questions after the last presentation. So we move now to Tins Faramonka, to the program officer of the National Research Foundation, responsible for the international partnerships in collaboration with the Department of Science and Innovation, DSI. We will hearing from him about the call which has just opening and now to apply. So Tins, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. And just before load shedding happens at around 12, let's try and cover up what we need to do. But thank you for the good introduction, and I really appreciate, on behalf of the National Research Foundation, the opportunity given to us. And also we wish to acknowledge the Department of Science and Technology, Science and Innovation, sorry, here present. We have senior colleagues who are watching and listening and participating in the whole webinar, and also my colleague, Valencia Mashilwane. And also we wish to bring also an apology from one senior colleague from the NRF, Prudence Makura, who is currently traveling. Thank you very much. And especially to those who have already spoken, Ahmed, Davide, and especially also Prof. Swartz, you know, the testimonial that you gave, and together with those other colleagues who spoke, you made my talk very easy, because I'm sure I'll speak far less than the allocated time, in that you had, you know, covered quite a number of scope that I was going to focus on. And also at the end of my talk, my colleague Valencia would do a slide to indicate the process of NRF Connect application, which is a system through which those who are interested to apply can access. Thank you very much. And the focus of my talk is on, I won't take a lot of time on the partnership that the NRF through the Department of Science and Innovation has with the European Research Council. The MOU dated 2015 has already been mentioned, but the objectives summarily would include, amongst others, that we as South Africa wish to showcase our scientific excellence, and that we wish to advance this scientific excellence through collaboration with EU. And the NRF, especially as the funding agency, is there to fund research visits based on, of course, mutual interest between those that will be visited in the region of Europe. And this is mainly the opportunity, especially for those who are early in their research careers to meet a term so that they can be able to meet and interact with their European counterparts. And the aim being that they should be able to develop their own research potential. I think Prof. Swartz mentioned it in that he said, if you are not into academia, for example, and that you don't find yourself fitting in the collaboration from the other side, perhaps you should reconsider. But we're saying, of course, that if you want to enhance your research potential, this would be an opportunity. But also researchers should be able to see this opportunity as capacity development, and that they would be able to broaden their profile, of course, as well, not forgetting that the National Research Foundation here in South Africa is also having another program where academic personnel or individuals can be rated. So opportunities like this would really, be of relevance in the event you also wish to apply for your ratings through the NRF. And also that South African applicants, if they are successful, of course, they will be exposed internationally. And this time we're talking particularly Europe and the networking that comes with it. Now, I speak to eligibility criteria. What is it that you need to have, and what is it that you need to do for you to be considered? I think Prof. Swartz mentioned quite some of the other things, but also that you have to be willing to undertake visits to ERC supported teams. Prof. Swartz said he did not choose the institution, but he chose the person when they met at other, networking meetings and so on. But also, preferably, those who are in their early to mid career, mid period of their research, they are welcome to apply, especially if you were to look at the age, you're looking at 40 and younger. But of course, you have to have a PhD or a doctoral degree, and that those who are undertaking their postdoctoral studies, they are also welcome to apply. And should the applicants also be in the country as either permanent residents or they are, citizens of the country, they are also welcome to apply, and that they should be, of course, having a working contract with a university in South Africa. And we also have what we call research councils in South Africa. So those would be institutions that are recognized also by the National Research Foundation and the DSI. So such are welcome to apply, but unfortunately, those who are in private sector or commercial institutions may not be considered as beneficiaries in this regard for reasons that our resources aren't so quite enough. So we're trying to especially focus on those publicly funded institutions, which are our, especially the 26 public universities in South Africa. And just to indicate how the call works in South Africa through the NRF, that the NRF has since 2015, of course, had an opportunity to work together with the ERC, which will mainly launch a call for expression of interest. And this expression of interest would allow those principal investigators to apply and have about a period of 18 months during which they can run their projects. And these calls, of course, normally take place in October on the ERC side, but Valencia later will indicate that on our side, of course, the call is opened until the end of this month. But then step number 2 is that once ERC has received the expression of interest and the date has come so that applications can be closed, the ERC, as indicated by Davide earlier, that they will have a list of those who express their interest, and the list will then be shared with us to allow our South African applicants to identify themselves with those who are in Europe for them to be able to make their own applications. And as we had said, that the NRF will make use of that list, and which will assist greatly our South African applicants. And now those who want to apply, of course, we already saw it in the chat box. Someone is very interested. The applicants will have to check the list, and as I said, and identify what is it that is a fit to them. And having done that, they will be able to apply. And both EU and the South African researchers will have to agree on the modalities of the collaboration, wherein the host institution on the ERC side will do formalities of having to ensure that there's a letter of intent indicating that they will be working together. And also on the South African side, a letter of support will also be made available. So this is a very formal process wherein we wish to, both the ERC and the NRF wish to ensure that there is smooth running and smooth working relations between our researchers. And once the South African researcher receives the letter of support, the applicant is then eligible to apply for funding, and they can also provide all the required information as per the call guideline, which, as we speak, it's out there for everyone who wants to go through it. And once the call closes, as it was initially mentioned, that the NRF will do evaluations, and the evaluations are done by scientific experts in the field in which the applicant shall have applied. And once the evaluations are done, the experts will recommend that application for funding, and then the NRF takes it from there. So the NRF only acts on the recommendation that comes from the reviewers and or evaluators of the applications based on the scientific excellence that shall have been spotted in the application. So this is quite very important, colleagues, especially to note that as much as we want to support our own researchers, but it has to be a process that is very open, transparent, and it is very competitive. Therefore, your application will be looked at amongst other applications as well. So it is not just an application that we receive, but it has to be looked into in terms of whether it makes a scientific, good scientific methodology and good scientific relevance, and it's then that the reviewers or evaluators will recommend it for funding or not recommend it for funding. So that slide Valencia will do, but also this one, it's very important. I think Prof. Swartz indicated that the funding that you get from the NRF, unfortunately, is not so enough, considering also that we know that financial resources are very limited. But it's important that you note that the funding will cover your exchange visit or your visit to EU-based institution, lasting up to maximum period 1 year or 12 months. And if you do more than one visit, you can already do, maybe 10 days per visit and so on. And maybe not more than 6 months if you were to go for an option of multiple visits. The research visits should begin prior to the termination date of the ERC grant, meaning the person you're going to visit in Europe should already obviously have the funding from ERC, but also they should be mindful that the visits should happen before their grant date comes to an end. Thank you very much, colleagues, and I hand over to, there's this one. Okay, apologies. So in terms of funding modalities, we have already outlined who can apply. Mid-career researchers, I mean to say, and then the NRF will make funds available where there's a need for top up for successful applicants, of course. But very important that the top up will be done on a case-by-case basis. This is based on, in the event there is quite an urgent need for additional amount of money over and above that which is offered, which is 150,000 rand per annum or per 18 months period. But that visiting South African researchers will be incorporated into research teams of the ERC funded principal investigators that we have already mentioned, and any relevant expenses over and above this, also the repetition of what I have said, but also importantly that where possible, please leverage some other or additional funding, and that would really greatly help. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you very much for this nice presentation. I have 2 questions for you also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ahmed, just before the questions, I really appreciate, I welcome questions, but let Valencia do one slide on how to navigate the NRF Connect quickly.
Please go ahead. Okay. You need to stop your sharing your screen. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm almost there. Hold on. It's just taking forever. Sorry about this, colleagues. It's just, I don't know what's happening. It's not going back. All right. Can everyone see me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Valencia. I'm the liaison officer here, and I deal with the ERC call that we launch every year. So we have a new website, if some people are aware, which was launched last year. That's called the NRF Connect. Previously, applicants would have to go to the NRF online system. But for now, we are using the NRF Connect. And what would be needed to actually access the call guidelines is on the search engine, you would type in NRF Connect document. It's very important that you type in documents because there's NRF Connect, which is now the application process, website for the application process. And then this one is basically for the call documents particularly. So you go to NRF Connect document, and then you would click on General Application Guides to view all call documents. And then for the ERC call, you would have to go under Travel, Training, and Conference Grant. There you will find the NRF Connect, the NRF ERC funding guideline, which you can download for yourself. And also there's another one which is for the abstracts from the PIs. And then after that, once you show your interest and maybe you find it interesting and you really want to apply, then you would go to the NRF Connect. And there, then you would log in for those who've probably already tried to apply. But then if you don't have a profile, then what you would do is you would register on the ID, create an ID on the ORC ID. And that's basically the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this presentation also. Now we can move for some
It's
live
over to you, Ahmed. Over to you, Ahmed. She started.
Yes. Okay, just we need to if there is some live questions. Valencia, if you can stop sharing your screen. Thank you very much. So we have so two live questions. The first one from Dr. Bettirono, and the second one from Deresi Daka. So if you can open your mic, please, and give us your questions. Dr. Ono? Please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm inquiring. This is Betsy from Kenya, and
Okay.
just interested, being an interested applicant, how would I be assisted from Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, we can give the floor to David.
Yes, the rationale behind this kind of implementing arrangement is that an agreement between the European Commission and the country where the funding institution is based is necessary. So far, we have this 17 agreement that we signed, that the Commission signed, but every year a new agreement can actually be negotiated and signed. So far, unfortunately we don't have any agreement with Kenya institutions, but this may come in the future. I saw as well other question in the question and answer chat about basically same question for Nigeria and other countries. Unfortunately, we still don't have any agreement signed, but this may come in the future. I would like to underline the fact that there are other opportunities to join an ERC team. I can provide Ahmed later on the links, and then maybe we can share through that. There is a portal for the Commission where there are other opportunities to join teams, ERC teams, but also other European agencies opportunities. It's also important to cite that ERC grants are open to people from all the nationalities. The main point is that the proposal has to be as to consider a hosted institution in Europe, but you can be of any nationality. There is also a different opportunity, which is related to the synergy grant, where one of the principal investigators out of the 4 involved in this synergy, indeed, can be based outside Europe. Yes, this is somehow, I provide you some context and some background about the opportunities that we have within ERC for researcher from any country.
Thank you.
Different,
Thank
with different.
Okay, thank you, Davide. So we give the floor to Hassan. Hassan, if you can open your mic, please.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. I'm Hassan Jimo from Federal Polytechnic of FA. I just want to ask about a month ago, we applied. There was a call on expression of our interest, which we actually have done that. And then there was this webinar that was done last month. I participated on the webinar, and we were told aftermath that within 1 month we will get the feedback from our expression of interest. 1 month down the line, we have not heard from we have not gotten any feedback from them. I mean the test funds. So I don't know. I just want to ask: Are we actually, or when are they likely to, to feed us back about our expression of interest? Thank you for listening.
Just to have more details, which webinar, please, last month?
Yeah, which month? It was, the deadline was 10th of February. 10th of February, and today is 17th. Actually, there was another extension, 7 days, for those who couldn't see the call, the expression of interest, the advert. But me, I submitted before that 17th. So, and up till now, I've not gotten any feedback from them.
For each call topic, for each opportunity, you have already sent your application.
Come again. I'm not clear about. I'm not clear with your question. With what
no,
you asked.
No problem. You can text us or email us if you have if you need more details about all opportunities, and if there is some deadline to respect, or if you have some needs relation to assistance or support. So don't hesitate to contact us by email if you can. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can I have it?
Okay, thank you. We have Moza.
Morning, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning. Yes,
okay,
please.
Thank you, colleagues, and thank you for this webinar. I think it's been quite informative. My question or clarifying is in 2 parts. First, I've just come out of a postdoc fellowship and now wanting to establish a group as an early career investigator. Did I hear correctly that I should be having a grant, for example, to TUCA with the NRF in order to apply for this? Or because I'm in between grants now, I'll only be applying for Tutuka, by May. And at the moment, don't have a grant that I'm holding. I'm with the Science Council. Would I be eligible because I don't have a grant that I'm holding at the moment? And the second part of the question is with regards to the host. So I have identified someone I would like to work with. Do they need to have an ERC grant as well?
Thank you. So if you can, Tens or David, you can just reply to these questions.
Okay. In terms of you considering Tutuka or having a Tutuka grant, the answer is yes, you are eligible to apply. And you said which research council are you at again?
I'm with CSIR.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yes.
you're welcome.
So I can apply for this travel grant even before I have Tutuka. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We have Rosaria.
And I think there was a question also from the chat that asked if the person says they are doing their PhD and asked if they are eligible to apply. And the answer is unfortunately not, unless if they had already obtained their PhD, and even if they were doing postdoctoral studies and linked to a particular institution, they would qualify to apply. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for this information. I think we can finish by this question from Rosaria Carbon. Rosaria, if you can open your mic, please.
Ahmed, I'm just following. I don't have any question.
Okay, no problem. Okay, welcome. So we finish by Coyotes. Coyotes, please. Open your mic, please, if you can. So please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good morning. This is Dr. Olumuyiwa from Nigeria. So I'd like to ask, because the substantial parts of the webinar, there has been so much emphasis on NRF and South Africa. I want to know what funding opportunities are available for researchers from Nigeria. Is NRF also available for researchers in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the same questions than before. But David, if you can just give more details about this, the link between ERC and Nigeria.
Well, so far we don't have established any kind of collaborative agreement with the Nigeria funding bodies for research. So far from this point of view, we don't have an opportunity similar to the one that we have with NRF. But of course, this may come in the future. As explained before, we still have the chance to every year to negotiate new agreement. But of course, it's necessary to have the interest of, for example, Ministry of Research in Nigeria to establish this kind of collaboration. As I mentioned before, there are other opportunities to join ERC teams through other channels, and there are also other opportunities related to research in for other agencies of the commissions. Again, this is an opportunity in terms of collaboration, but as well, ERC grants are always open to researchers from any nationality. So you can always apply to an ERC grant if you are eligible. So this is really open to everybody, despite of any kind of agreement we have about mobility and visits.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have exceeded the time of the webinar because there is a lot of questions, but there is a final question from, I think, Albert. If you can open your mic, please. Albert Che. If not, I have two questions for Tins Falamorca about the collaboration between EURAXES Africa and the National Research Foundation. So my first question, what Your Access Africa can do to help raise awareness for this initiative. And my second question is, how Your Access Africa can aid in this matchmaking process.
Thank you, Ahmed. I'm going to ask that. I think the DSI colleagues are here, especially together, if you can hear me, so that yes, they can assist, give appropriate answers to the important two questions that we have raised. Together. Okay, maybe she left the meeting, but she was here early. But
no. Just she is with us. Okay. Tugela.
Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, I didn't have the rights to speak because I joined as a participant. I didn't get the question. Can you please repeat the question?
Just my questions in relation with Your Access. So what Your Access Africa can do to help raise awareness of this initiative? And the second question, how Your Access Africa can aid in the matchmaking process?
Oh, okay, that's a very important question, Ahmed. I think we had previously discussed possibilities of having joint efforts between the DSI, South Africa represented by the DSI, as well as the National Research Foundation through our ESA-STAP platform. Because as you know, ESA-STAP is it operates quite similarly to what Your Access does, specifically targeting the South African National System of Innovation. And I think also this type of events have also assisted us to identify what gaps exist for the South African researchers in accessing these opportunities. I was actually texting TNs during the webinar to say it would be good to also see the statistics of how many South African applicants have actually access to this opportunity since the signing of the agreement in 2015, and also to see the type of demographics in terms of the institutions that are participating, as well as the gender, so that we know exactly where the challenges are, and then we can be able to then develop the appropriate support mechanisms to support those who are unable to do that. So I think through Your Access, in short, and ESA-STAP, it would be important, and also NRF, for us to sit down and see what type of activities in terms of the training activities that we could have, as well as what type of other additional support in terms of the seed funding that TNs was talking about, in order to make sure that the South African National System of Innovation is able to then access this opportunity. I'm not sure if I did justice to the question, TNs.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we have a lot of opportunities, and we have the opportunity to work together in order to enhance the visibility to all opportunities, because there is a lot of opportunities given by ERC, given by also by European Commission and the Horizon Europe program. So I think we come to the end. So just for information, all slides and the recording video for this webinar will be available in Your Access Africa website today, this afternoon. So you can download all slides and you can watch the video again. Don't hesitate to contact us. You can email us anytime at africa@youraccess.net. Stay tuned. Be proactive, please. Be proactive. And there is a lot of opportunities. So we can say goodbye now, and see you soon, I hope. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank
Bye.
you.